Your digital life and a significant part of your physical life revolve around your smartphone. Your phone logs who you call, when you call them, and how often and how long you talk to them. Your phone stores the content of all your texts and emails, including the words, images, and videos you share with others and they share with you. Your phone records not only the websites you visit, but also the physical locations you visit, along with all the photos and videos you took while you were there. Your phone may even have extremely personal and sensitive data about your health and finances. If you use an iPhone or a regular Android phone, your phone is likely sharing a lot of that information with third parties, including well-known big tech companies and potentially hundreds of shady data brokers around the world who you have never even heard of. For the past 6 weeks, I have been evaluating 2 phones marketed as privacy phones. In this video, I am going to share my observations, test results, and overall thoughts about the above privacy phone and the Brax3 Privacy Phone, including the pros and cons of each. I will then share recommendations about who might benefit by switching to one of these phones. Spoiler alert, I found a significant issue with both of them that might be a deal breaker for some users. I am Dr. John Padfield, an engineer turned state representative turned business professor, and this is Business Reform, where we discuss issues at the intersection of business, technology, and society. If you would like to support my work in bringing you informative, unbiased, and sponsor-free videos, I invite you to buy me a coffee using this QR code or the link in the description. This is not a sponsored video, and I paid full price for both phones, making this the most expensive video I have ever made, so please drop a like if you appreciate this review. Let's start with the above phone. The above phone is not a single phone, but rather a whole family of Pixel phones. Pixel phones are designed and manufactured by Google. Above buys standard unlocked Pixel phones, then they wipe Google's standard Android operating system from the phone and replace it with GrapheneOS. Most IT security experts consider GrapheneOS the gold standard for data security. GrapheneOS is open source, which means its source code is publicly available and can be read by anyone to ensure there are no secret backdoors in the code to allow unauthorized access to data on the phone. Running GrapheneOS on your phone breaks any connection to Google services at the operating system level. Above also gives you access to the F-Droid and Aurora stores, which are open-source app stores that allow you to download apps without having to create an account. These apps take the place of apps such as Gmail, Google Maps, or Apple Maps, so your apps don't tie you back to the Google or Apple ecosystems. During one stop on my Brush Fires of Freedom tour, I mentioned I was testing an above phone, and a very knowledgeable gentleman sitting in the back row spoke up and said he didn't need above to sell him a Pixel phone with GrapheneOS. He said he carried a Pixel phone he had bought for a lot less than above sells them for, and he flashed GrapheneOS on the phone himself. A woman sitting in front of him then raised her hand and said, "I don't even know what that means." Flashing is a term that has been around since the 1980s, when you used to have to use an ultraviolet light to erase then reprogram certain types of memory chips. His point was that you can buy an unlocked Pixel phone much cheaper than above sells them for, and if you know how, you can install GrapheneOS on the phone yourself and save some money. Her point was that most people do not know or even want to know how to flash a phone. I agree with both of them. If you know how to flash a new operating system onto a phone, you don't need an above phone. However, because most people don't know how to do that, Above is selling a service that allows non-IT experts to have a much more private phone. And the price they charge includes free access to friendly tech support people who can help you through any problems you encounter and who are happy to answer your questions. I know, I had a great conversation with one of them myself. In stark contrast to the mass-produced Pixel phones, the Brax3 phone is a custom-made, low-production volume phone designed by YouTuber Rob Braxman, who is known as the Internet Privacy Guy. I have never met Rob, but I watch some of his videos and I always find them informative. Rob launched his Brax3 Privacy Phone on the crowdfunding website Indiegogo late last year. Originally, he expected to start shipping the Brax3 around April of this year, but he encountered a few problems that delayed shipments by a couple of months. I have seen some people on YouTube attacking Rob because of the delays, and I believe those attacks are completely unwarranted. I was an automotive electronics engineer for over a decade, and I can tell you production delays for new electronic products are common for a wide variety of reasons. The Brax3 is a much more affordable privacy phone that can be ordered today for just $339, but you will have to wait a couple of months to get it because he has sold out of the first 2 batches of phones he produced, and the phones ordered now are anticipated to ship in December. I will quickly go over the hardware specifications, then share my experience and test results with each phone, then my recommendations. Please keep in mind, the above phone sells for 2.5 times what the Brax3 sells for. I am not going to read this line by line, but feel free to pause the video if you want to study the specifications. I just want to highlight a couple of significant differences. The Brax phone has an older microprocessor to keep the costs down, but it comes with twice as much storage and a microSD slot that can give you up to an extra 512 gigabytes of removable storage. The above phone has a brighter, higher resolution display with a faster refresh rate, but the Brax3 has a larger display. They can both unlock using your fingerprint, PIN, or password, but only the above phone has face unlock. The above phone also has higher resolution cameras on both the front and back. The above phone has a slightly smaller battery than the Brax3, but the above phone recharges nearly twice as fast and has wireless recharging that the Brax3 does not have. The above phone ships with GrapheneOS, while the Brax3 ships with IodéOS, which is also a very secure open-source operating system. Regarding startup time, the above phone took 26 seconds to boot up compared to 32 seconds for the Brax3. In terms of battery performance, I charged both phones to 100%, then put them in airplane mode, turned on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and closed all apps except for the DuckDuckGo browser and an app called Tracker Control. I then left them alone for 12 hours, and when I checked them, both batteries were down to 95%. I then played 4 hours of YouTube videos on them using a free open-source app called NewPipe. After 4 hours of continuous video playback, the above phone's battery was down to 68%, and the Brax3 phone was down to 66%. Overall, I would call their battery performance equal within the margin of error. I also took a bunch of photos with both phones. For these tests, I held the phones side by side and took photos as close to the same time as possible. The Brax3 phone took decent photos, but the colors were not as vibrant as the above phone. That difference really shows up in the shadows on the ground and the contrast between the green leaves and the blue sky in these photos. The sun went behind a cloud when I was taking these photos, so the color difference isn't as dramatic. However, when I zoom in, you can see a big difference in image quality. And finally, these images along the riverbank show how much better the above phone is at capturing fine details in the shadows. The above Pixel 8a is the clear winner when it comes to camera performance, but you would expect that from a phone that literally costs 2.5 times as much as the Brax3. And now for the potential deal breaker for some users. To test cell carrier compatibility, I purchased an AT&T SIM card and put it in the Brax3 phone. The SIM card is what allows a phone to connect to a cell tower so you can get phone and internet service when you are not connected to Wi-Fi. During the activation process, I got an error message telling me that AT&T does not support 2G devices, but they would be happy to hook me up with an AT&T prepaid phone. I know the Brax3 is not a 2G device, so obviously this was an error. I then put that AT&T SIM card into the above phone and it worked fine through step 2 of 4 of the activation process. However, it couldn't complete step 3 due to an unspecified technical problem. In other words, neither phone worked with an AT&T SIM card. I then tried using a Boost Mobile SIM card, and I had a very similar experience with both phones. While this was disappointing, it really wasn't a big deal to me because I didn't want to use a SIM card in a privacy phone anyway. SIM cards are what connect your phone and your real-world identity to cellular networks and allow the carrier to know who you are, your location, and what you are doing with your phone. Without a SIM card, the carrier cannot track you. The real question is, how accessible do you want or need to be? As outrageous as this sounds, if you have a good VPN on your phone, a subject I will cover in detail in an upcoming video, and if you don't need to be connected to the internet 24/7, you could try getting by with just using free public Wi-Fi. But if you are like me and you want the option of being connected from anywhere at any time, you can get a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, like the LovePod satellite hotspot I bought to use with these two privacy phones. I was able to connect both phones to this LovePod at the same time and surf the web. I also downloaded MySudo to both phones, so I was able to make and receive phone calls and text messages without having a SIM card in either phone. I will soon be making a video reviewing both the LovePod and the Calix Institute's hotspots, and in that video I will go into more detail about why hotspots offer many privacy advantages over putting a SIM card in your phone. My final test was using a network monitor overnight to see if either the above Pixel 8a or the Brax3 decided to phone home in the middle of the night and upload a bunch of data, as some people have reported happening with iPhones and Android devices. I am happy to report no mysterious data dumps being sent off in the middle of the night on either phone. So what's my final recommendation regarding these privacy phones? The short answer is, it depends on your needs and your use case. As I have said in several recent videos, everyone has to find the right balance for themselves between convenience and privacy. I found both the above phone and the Brax3 to be usable, but a little bit on the clunky side for lack of a better term. However, I have been an iPhone user since February 2011, when Apple released the iPhone 4, which was the first iPhone to work on Verizon. I am very accustomed to Apple's operating system, which is very polished, and both of these phones felt like I was going back in time about 5 or 6 years in terms of user experience. I also have an authenticator app on my iPhone that I have to get on the network at my university, and another one that I have to submit invoices to a consulting client of mine. I really don't want to put those apps on a privacy phone, so I am probably going to be in a situation where I have two phones. My public phone with my main phone number that literally thousands of people have, and a private phone that runs off of a mobile hotspot that I use when I'm not working. For my needs, because I will still have an iPhone for work, I will stick to using the Brax3 as a low-cost private phone. However, if I were only going to have one phone, I would go with the above Pixel 8a. As I said earlier, this is not a sponsored video, but if you choose to buy an above phone, I do have an affiliate link and a discount code that will get you $25 off a new phone. The link and the discount code are shown on the screen and are in the description of this video. I will earn a small commission off any phones purchased using that code. These are some of the videos I am currently researching and will be releasing over the coming months, so if they are of interest to you, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss them when they are released. And finally, I have several speaking events coming up this fall, including one in Ackworth, Georgia on Saturday, November 8th, and I will soon be announcing details for my tour stops in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Visit brushfirestour.com for more information. You've heard what I think, and I am now looking forward to hearing your thoughts. What other testing would you like to see done on these phones? Do you already have a privacy phone, or are you considering getting one? Are there any other devices you would like for me to test? I can't wait to read your comments.